Welcome back to Crux Stationalis, the Roman Station Church network. Today we head to the Roman Station Church of the Basilica of Santi Silvestro e Martino ai Monti. This is the Roman Station Church for the Thursday of the fourth week of Lent. The church is dedicated to both Pope Saint Sylvester I and Saint Martin of Tours, a 4th century monastic founder and bishop of Tours in France. And so in English, it's the Church of Saint Sylvester and Martin in Monti. Let's go inside. I am actually going to take you into this back entrance, which takes us to the epistle side of the sanctuary, where we can then descend into the crypts and into the 3rd century structure, which sits below and to the west of the basilica. The present church is a 9th century basilica. What was there beforehand is a tricky problem of interpretation of the sources. The first reference is in the Liber Pontificalis for Pope Saint Sylvester, which reads, "He made in the city of Rome on a piece of land belonging to a certain priest of his called Equitius, next to the baths of Domitian, a church, which he set up as a Roman titulus, which is called the Titulus Equitii to this day." A titulus, if you recall, was roughly equivalent to an ancient parish church, usually in a private house. The confusion arises because there's also a Titulus Silvestri. In the end, we know, however, that the church is also tied to the Titulus Equitii, but under now the titles of Saints Sylvester and Martin. And now we head down to the 3rd century building, which is called the Aula a Sei Vanni, or the Hall of 6 Rooms. Now let's go down together and explore this 3rd century building. In this chapel, we find a relic of His Eminence Saint Giuseppe Maria Tomasi. Tomasi was born at Licata in the Kingdom of Sicily, part of the Crown of Aragon, to Giulio Tomasi, the first prince of Lampedusa, and his wife Rosalia. His life was oriented toward God from his first years, formed and educated in the family home, where they did not lack riches or moral training. He gave proofs of a spirit very open to study and to piety. He was destined by the family for the royal court of Madrid, as he was bound to inherit from his own father, as his title of nobility, that of Grandi of Spain. But Tomasi's own spirit aspired even from youth to be small in the kingdom of God and to serve not the kings of the earth, but the King of heaven. He cultivated his pious desire in his heart until he obtained the consent of his father to follow his vocation to the religious life, becoming a great cardinal of the church and saint. This confessio or crypt was completely reordered and provided with a ceremonial staircase by Gagliardi in the 17th century. The reason why this restoration focused its layout of the church on the crypt is because relics of several sainted popes, among them Pope Saint Martin I, as well as a large number of unnamed martyrs, are enshrined here. We can observe this list of the martyrs of the saints which were transferred here from the cemetery of Priscilla. For the station mass, the relics of many of these saints are brought out and exposed for veneration by the pilgrims who frequent the Roman Station Church itinerary. We also find an example of a sepulchro, made of wood and gilded and marbled. This would have been used for the altar of repose, or what is traditionally called a sepulchro during Holy Week. The basilica plan of this 9th century basilica maintained the ancient structural plan, and the 24 antique columns now in the nave were presumably reused from the church built by Symmachus, who is described as building from the foundations a basilica dedicated to Pope Saint Sylvester and Saint Martin. And now let's join together in the Roman Station Church procession from the Colletta of San Pietro in Vinculi to the Statio of Santi Silvestro e Martino ai Monti.